So we are rolling it with Vanessa Calderón. She said Vanessa Calder's easier. And she just recently had a new movie come out.
Yes.
And you even
Hi,
invited
Joseph.
me to the premiere. I couldn't make the premiere. I was flattered that you invited me. How did that go with this film? And talk to us about what happened there with the premiere of the movie and everything like that.
Well, it was a dream come true. I came here with my partner in crime that we work together and we do everything. As a filmmaker, Danielle Diosdado, another great last name. and and we put a film together and finally, well, basically he produced it, wrote it, and shot it. And we had a great time. We did it during the pandemic. And then finally, we premiered the film because in New York, if you don't premiere a film, it's like you don't really exist. Well, basically every film. So we invited people that are in the industry and the cast and the crew, and they had a great time. And it was really, really fun. Like I could live presently the whole situation. It was great. It was a great day. You know, after all the nervousness, it was exciting.
With nervousness, do you feel like it's more excitement disguised as
Oh
nervousness?
yeah.
What was that?
Well, the adrenaline, you know, like first of all, if everything is gonna be okay. Second of all, if people are gonna attend and they're gonna have a good time. And third of all, well, besides the dress, it's very important. What are you gonna wear? That took me a bit. After that, it's are they gonna like the movie? So that's really what maintains you with that adrenaline. Oh my God, they're gonna love it, they're gonna hate it, you know. And lucky for us, and lucky because Daniel is a great filmmaker, and this is an indie movie, but low budget indie movie, which means we don't have millions of dollars. But I think talent overcomes the lack of money. And in this case, everybody were very happy with the production, with the acting, with everything.
What was that process like? Did you make this movie during the pandemic? Was the idea during the pandemic? Like, explain to someone who's never made a movie or been in a movie before, like, what that looks like.
Okay. The script was written a year before the pandemic. Danny wrote a
Mhm.
script where he could actually do a story outside in New York, using New York, the city, as a set, not only locations. You know, the locations are very expensive. So the more you have to pay for beautiful places, the more the movie is gonna get like very, very expensive. So he created a story where we could be on the street. September, October is a great weather. Um, when the pandemic hit, he was studying photography, DP, because he wanted to know more. He knows a lot about cameras and everything, but he wanted to know more about the photography of everything. So during March till October, the movie was prepared to go. He found the money, he found the cast, the crew, the whole team, and we started in October because he was waiting for the camera, Sony, the camera, and he was very late. They had some problems sending the camera, of course, because of COVID and everything. And he wanted a camera that he could operate. When you get an Alexa, or you get like an Ari, there are cameras that you need an operator and you need an assistant for the focus and everything. So he wanted something like running gun, and he could just do everything, and he could be like on top of on the set or running with the actor or whatever. So that was a lot of freedom, and also it's less money. So he thought everything he thought was accordingly with the money he had. And we started on mid-October, and we had a small crew, and the cast was also very small. But you know that not all the time every single actor goes on set. So we had two actors, three actors, and it was easy to do that. And we had a minivan where we all got changed in there and did the makeup and did everything. And we had, of course, a COVID controlled prison that he would help us with the masks. He will help us with all the situation and how to deal with it. It was a little stressful, but we made it. We made it happen.
And when you're making like a scene, like what goes into making just one scene in a movie?
Okay, you basically need the camera, of course. Then you need photography, the director of photography. That he is gonna. If he's outside, they may need to reflect, or they may need to bring a little light. It depends on what you need at that moment. Then you have the actors, and of course, we always had the assistant director on set because that's the person that controls everything. If the actors are ready to shoot, and we also had a producer helping on board and makeup artists, wardrobe, makeup, and some assistants. It's a very small crew, but still you need a few people to make it happen. And then you just start the scene. And if it's on the street or in Central Park and you are not lucky that day, Central Park, people are playing music, people are yelling, people are singing. So you got all that going on because you have to pay some permits to shoot there. But still,
Mhm.
nobody is going to stop from coming in the park. So you still have to deal with all that.
Is that like expensive getting those permits for those like big scenes that people may see like in, California or New York City? Like these are money making, ways the city makes money.
Well, the city also helps you because they
Really?
somehow, yeah, if you do a movie in New York and then you have the taxes, they will help you also with that. And of course, they make money out of it. But the good thing is, if you need a whole street for yourself, of course, you're going to pay more money because you need the police to cut the street and you need more to cut the traffic. And they're going to give you a few hours. But of course, that you pay a little bit for Central Park is not that expensive. It's doable. As long as you have a tripod, then you need a permit. If you have your
So if you don't
camera
have a
by hand,
tripod, that's like a way of getting around a permit. Like let's just say like I'm just
yeah,
holding like a little gimbal or something.
but this is a secret. So guys, keep it to
Okay.
yourself. Oh, they
All
will
right. Well,
find us.
they will find
Yes,
us.
you
It'll be
can.
like Liam Neeson. I will find you and I will charge you.
Oh yeah, we'll charge you very bad.
Like what does that run? Like just a ballpark figure in terms of like just getting like one big scene in Central Park. Do you have any clue?
Oh well, the one that we did, I think it was like $300 for 100, but we asked for Bryant Park, and that was $2,000, and I think it's for a few hours, not for even the day. So
Mhm.
that's how it goes. Yeah.
Yeah,
So you have to
because
cut the whole street. That's
like
okay.
tens of thousands of dollars.
It might be, yeah. I don't know if it's that high, but um it's difficult. I remember an anecdote about the movie. Okay, let me. Oh my God, I
Describe it.
totally
Describe the
forgot. They
movie.
need. They no, it's a zombie movie, and it's in English. Oh my God, no, I need to find it. I need to find it. This is not working.
Is it a comedy? Is it like a scary movie?
No, it is zombie movie. One of the first zombie movies that they were made. Um, it's like an apocalypse, and someone wakes up in the hospital, and he leaves, and everything is empty. The whole city of London is empty.
Oh,
28 days later. 28 days later. I think that's it, the title. And the director had a minute to shoot London completely empty. And
one
he
minute.
had to pay for that, but he only had 1 minute to shoot that. So he had cameras everywhere. So at least you got all you need in 1 minute. So
So in
that's
1 minute,
how
you could
hard it
spend
is.
like $50,000, $100,000.
Yeah. Oh, probably, yeah. But it's worth
Yeah,
it.
right. Yeah, I mean, how often can you get a whole London with no one in it? But nowadays, you might be able to, like, etch people out with all, like, the technology that's going on.
That is also expensive. All the technology that's going on is very expensive, but still, it's doable. You're right. You can do that. But if you want the real vibe, there's a difference, when you just erase people, there's a difference when there is nobody. Like, remember the pandemic when we were on lockdown and everything was empty. You can feel that emptiness and that deserted areas. And that is interesting. That is the vibe of the movie. And I think he wanted that.
So, more of, like, how do you pull those emotions out of the viewers by actually getting that eerie feeling of you're walking down the streets of New York City and there's no one there?
That's interesting. I do love the eerie feelings. I do love thrillers. I think the way they move you is interesting. Very interesting.
Right, and you've been in the acting game for a while, and you've done a lot of different projects. This most recent one was, the name of the film is Prime? Is that the name of the movie that you just did?
No, I did the Nomad, and before
The
I did a little
Nomad.
television. The Nomad. The Nomad. That's the name.
Got it.
Television, theater.
And like, keeps you going to keep doing something that, most people give up on in the acting world?
You know what? I always thought if I would stop doing this, what would I do? And nothing comes to mind. Like, I don't think you can, okay, you can change professions, you can widen what you do, express yourself in different ways. I'm expressing myself in different ways, dancing, acting, creating content, and writing. So that is an expression. But I don't think that I would never go and say, okay, I'm going to work for this company and do whatever I have, or teaching. I've been teaching for a long time too. But it's just you're born like this with the symptom called artist. You're born like this. And once you're born like this, man, I don't think you don't make it because you give up. That's what I feel. You can do it, you can make it. We are not talking about saving the world from cancer or creating a vaccine. I think that is difficult. That requires an intelligence, that requires a lot of things, a lot of money. Being an actor, being an artist is your mindset. It requires a very strong mindset and creative mindset, how you're going to make it happen and how vibrant you feel about it. Do you still have passion? If you don't have passion, you're going to step away for a while and take a rest, take a minute and then come back and keep on doing it. But when you start thinking, what am I doing here? This is not worth it. Maybe it's time for you to change. But if you're just tired, just rest and continue. You may be very close to your goal and you don't even know it.
Totally, and, was there any sort of point where, like, you hit that wall where you're like, "Oh, man, like, I don't know if I keep going on."
I did. I was forcibly stopped. On 2019, I had a bone grafting surgery in my gum, and I spent a month lying down. I couldn't move, so the bone could grow. It was, I'm a dancer and I live in pain. Like, I'm always sore, or, there's always something that bothers me. This pain was from another world. Like, there was no pain I've ever gone through. And I was living constantly in pain, little pain, medium pain, or the pain that you cannot move. I was wearing an invisible line constantly to protect everything. So I couldn't eat outside with my friends. I didn't have a social life. I was tired, in pain, and I didn't feel like learning something and going to the audition and doing it because I was really, really bad, in a bad shape. So yeah, I didn't have the energy. I didn't feel like doing this anymore. So I transferred into fashion and content creation for a while. I stopped my 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 artists. I stopped it because I was getting also obnoxious about the situation. Like I was complaining all the time. Oh my god, I like that. Another edition. And I said, okay, let it go. Step away. My agent dropped me. Everything went horrible. And I said, okay, let's focus on something else to numb me from the pain, but still keep on going and doing things. And I walked in New York Fashion Week. I worked with a lot of designers. I created a new platform, social platform that I'm living out of it now. Nowadays, I'm making my day by day, salary. I'm meeting wonderful people. And after that, COVID hit. I got sicker, and that's when I was like, okay, I just can't do one thing, and it's gonna be content creation because it's easier right now. And 2023, since 2019, I'm like, let's go, let's do this. I'm so happy. I'm so excited. I watch a TV show now, and I'm like, okay, this is why I'm here. I want to do this. I want to get my accent better. I really want to have fun with it. If you miss that part, having fun, that's when you're lost.
It's hard to keep things fun sometimes.
Oof, tremendously.
So, I mean, when you're like lying down during this time, like what's going through your mind?
Well, at that time, I was watching Vikings to watch people kill themselves, kill each other, kill themselves, or go through pain, like a lot of pain. Game of Thrones, all those horrible TV shows. I was really into those. I love action. I love swords. So yeah, I'm very feminine woman. I love a kind of action movies, and all I was thinking is I was getting very depressed by thinking I can't do what I love. I couldn't train, couldn't really. I was teaching dancing, but it was so painful. It was horrible. And the only way to maintain yourself, it's going putting your attention on something else. If you put your attention on the pain, that's all you got. But if you put your attention on, for example, Instagram, that I started to build my Instagram somehow, then you're building something and you're creating something. And it actually numbed me, and I got so freaking addicted to my phone. Yeah, it was it was something else. But you put your attention on something that helps you heal through the process. That's what saved me.
So, channeling that energy into something that's actually meaningful allowed you to escape the pain.
Yeah, if you're a painter and you feel like you can paint, just go and do it. If you cannot paint, read something related to something else. Or if you love, I don't know, you have a hobby, go into your hobby, and it might be your profession later on. Or I meditated a lot. I meditate. I think the growth on a human being is part of our evolution and part of what we should also work on. And besides making money and besides, making a career, I think being a better human being towards yourself, it's something that it's been my goal for a long time. So meditating and embracing what was happening to me instead of fighting it. Because I'm a freaking fighter. So I was like, damn it, why am I here? What is going on?
And with fighting and getting different roles, how what does that like entail? Like from like you look for a project and you're like, "Hey, I want to go for this project." Like for someone who's like myself or someone who's never gone through what you gone through, what steps are required to like actually get a role?
Okay, first of all, I believe in preparation, and whatever is the technique you want to develop or whatever is um, the way you want to become an actor. It's like a dancer. There is a technique related to every single career. You can be very natural, but if you don't know when you have to, how to use your choices or how to use your images, it won't take it too far. It can take you and you can book a few roles, but I think if you are trained and you know what you're doing, it will take you further. And the first thing you do is besides the training and aiming for what you want. Do you want to do theater, TV, film? Because theater is an animal, TV and film is another animal. And you got to prepare for either one or the other. That is a good idea. If you want to do theater, it is a different, you need to work on your voice a lot. And you, besides working for TV and film, your voice too. But there are different ways to do things. And one of the most important things is to get an agent, of course, but agents, they're not always, they don't have openings. So you find casting directors that align with the work that you do. You can email them or you can work by yourself on doing a monologue, creating content and create, I don't mean content for social platforms, but creating your scenes. So create working on a monologue and then send it and show them that you're constantly doing things. And I think nowadays, if you create your own web series, your own short film, your own story, you tell them and put them out there. That is very respectful and that is a way to really achieve the next step because we are crowded statistically speaking and we are too many and everybody wants to be an actor or an influencer or so you really have to be very creative.
Yeah, it's crazy. I actually read this book by Daniel Pink, and it's I think it's yeah, I got it right here. It's called like A Whole New
Oh
Mind.
wow.
And is why right
Okay.
brainers will rule the future. So it talks about how being creative, there's always gonna be a seat at the table for someone who's creative rather than someone who's not so creative. Uh, you're gonna get outsourced to other people who can do the same job for less money. Uh, However, as you know, coming up with the ideas and being creative, that's the challenging part. Implementing the ideas is typically the simple part. So, like, with your creativity, is there anything you're able to share that you're currently working on for the future?
I do have a couple of projects that they align because it's in storytelling. I'm writing a script with a script writer from LA. We've been working on this for a long time. It's about a dancer. And, when you tell a story, it's difficult to find it. Like you think you have the story and you think that everything is great and it's amazing. And then I'm very perfectionist. And when I watch a movie or when I read a book, I need to feel something. It has to move me somehow. If it doesn't move me that deep, it's because the story didn't get to me the way I would love to. And what I want to do with my stories is to get to people, come across their hearts. I don't want them to think, I want them to feel and to experience something. So I'm still working on that script and it's been years. I'm talking about years, but it's not done yet. And there's something missing. And I know there is something missing. So I'm still working on it. On the other hand, I wrote a book through everything I went through my mouth and I channeled it through writing. I never wrote anything before, but I felt like I had to write. And I created a thriller. After my first vaccine that I was feeling better, I wrote it in English. So that was a little bit like, okay, it's okay, but I don't feel it yet. And then I wrote it, of course, in Spanish. And I found my voice and I had a lot of fun creating like how to describe things, how to use the character. And it was a lot of fun and I enjoyed it so much. So when some people read it, they loved it. And now I'm editing that book to, because when you are in the story, there are some points where you know everything, and you kind of like do not explain anything else, and someone else will tell you, okay, well, you need to repeat this, so you need to do that. And I'm working on that now because I know that that story is going to come out and it's amazing. Like, I'm so happy and so thrilled that, that I got that story going on. And for me, the creativity is when you want to tell something to the world, like, what do you want to say? What do you want to talk about? And my creativity, when I'm at peace at night, when I'm sleeping, when I'm relaxed, the best ideas come at that time. So what I suggest is, instead of being in this wheel all day long, running and doing, you got to step back for a moment and sit and let your whispering ideas come to the front, and you can listen to them, because we don't have time to listen to anything creative and new because we are making money and we are running. But when you really listen to your gut, those ideas are there.
I have the same struggles. Is like people undervalue the ability to have the flexibility in their day. Just be like, you know what? I'm gonna push work to the side. I have my entire life to work. Let me just let me just go outside for a walk with my thoughts and take an appraisal of where my headspace is, and that's where like the ideas come. And from the pain that you went through, did that spark any sort of positivity and any sort of like ideas from that negative experience that you had with your jaw?
Now I can see it. I didn't see it before. It helped me to be creative in a painful way, to feel vulnerable. I have never felt vulnerable before in my life or week, because being a dancer and training for so long and being so strong and mentally, I mean, this career, it's a nonstop. I've always looked for jobs. I've always been on the go. I've always been training. I've always been trying to get the next paycheck. Doing so many things. Being a woman in the industry, and fighting all these men that think that they can do or say whatever they want, and they don't. Like, sometimes people don't think and want to overpower you. And I was too young when I was choreographing and directing events and shows, and I was always feeling the lack of respect in that matter. So I kind of grew up like feisty and always like going to places, say, hey, don't touch me. Hey, I'm going to do this. Hey, I'm going to do that. Yes, I can do this. Or always going very focused on my career. And I've never felt that my body was going really, really, I was losing my muscle. I wasn't feeling pretty at all, like not at all. I wasn't feeling even smart. I was like, oh my God, I'm losing my acting. I'm losing my technique. For a dancer, when you don't train, it's just, you're losing it. It's horrible. It's really horrible. It's a mindset of another species, but it's very hard. So when I was going through it, I didn't really see it, and I suffered a lot. And after that, after time, I have discovered that vulnerability, that weakness, has made me a better actor. I can use those tools. I'm not afraid of them. I can show them. I can go through them. And I have a very good knowledge besides that. It's not just faking it. I know what it is to be in pain. I know what it is not to be able to stand up and go for a walk because you're too tired. And I've learned a lot. And it's something I also have learned. And this is a very do what I say, know what I do. You need to recover for as long as you need to. And if you don't do that, you will pay for that eventually. And we don't allow our bodies to fully recover from something. We're always on the go, and there is this lack of recovery that is never going to happen if you don't give your body all that time. And after that month that I stayed laying down, I started working the following month on weekends from 9 to 7, all day long, teaching, dancing, acting, modeling. My Mondays were horrible, horrible. Like my face was melting. My, it was bad, and I was suffering a lot just because I didn't give myself another month. I should have, but I didn't because I need to get to work and I need to, that was my priority. And I learned that in the very most difficult way. When COVID hit, my immune system was so low that's why I got so sick. So that's my most generous tip that I can say today and I can give to you, that you need time. Even if it's a flu, give yourself one more day, just one more day. Your career is going to be there when you come back. Money always comes, and you're going to keep that in mind too. So you don't lose yourself being terrified. And we survive in surviving mode. Like, we are not in our center peacefully living a life. We are always in surviving mode, stressed, anxious, depressed. And that is not the way we should be living. And I learned that because I was doing that. I was surviving, not living. I was always running and rushing. And I think even my auditions were rushed. My art wasn't in there. My focus wasn't in there because I was making money and I had 100 classes and then I had to go and do this. The moment I had to stop and miss it, like actually miss what I was doing, that's when you recover your passion. And that was very helpful for me.
So it appeared you were in an audition, but you weren't at the audition.
I think I was in my head. When you're an artist, or when your body, we always trust our brain, but what we should trust is our gut, because our guts, like you understand when I say your gut, like your inner sense that is going to tell you, don't do that. Oh, I don't like this person. Or don't get that job. And your brain is going to go, you need money. You need to get it. Of course, get a job. What are you thinking about? If we listen much more our inner self, we are going to know that we are not in the right spot. We are not in the right place, and we need to do something to change it. So when I was doing auditions and I was rushing from coming from class, 2 days to learn 20 pages and then go and do the audition. And then I was in my head. I wasn't really enjoying that part. Like, you learn your lines, you make your choices, and you know everything perfectly, and then you let go and you just have fun. And in that moment, something new may come in and you can just add it to it and you can just flow through it. I didn't feel that.
That's so important as well, to like be in the moment. Like right now, like we're on a podcast right now at this moment. I'm not thinking about anything else, just like me and Vanessa chatting. Versus like sometimes you could be talking to someone, or maybe you're talking with someone and you're like, your head's in like you're there in the conversation in your body, but your mind is elsewhere.
Yeah.
So as an actor, being in the scene is super important, is what you're saying.
Yes. And whatever happens to you, use it. I had an example with myself when we play the Nomad, when I played the Nin. We had a shoot in a beautiful rooftop. It was a little cold. We could see the Empire State Building. One actor and me, it was just a scene with us. And when I got there, I was really I wasn't feeling anything, but I was very sick at that time. And when Daniel saw me, he told me, "Are you okay?" He asked me, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, being okay is surviving for me right now, so I'm okay." Got my makeup done, went to the scene rehearsal. We did a run through, and I couldn't say my lines. The fogginess that it was happening in my head because of COVID. Uh, I was just jumping into lines, not remembering them. It was a mess. It was an actual mess. And I was, I didn't think, I didn't judge myself. I didn't do anything. I let it happen. And I let it have the time that my brain needed it, because sometimes I could have been like, "Oh my God, this is horrible. Danny, it's so horrible. This is not happening." And then he would have stopped the scene and reshoot another day, and there is a lot of money. But I said, okay. The good part of it is the actor and Daniel, they didn't do anything. They didn't give me any faces. They were very generous and just waiting for me for whatever reason. And I appreciated that a lot. I had a couple of coffees and my fog disappeared and we shot the scene. I was exhausted. I was sad. I was depressed at that time. I wasn't feeling the most beautiful woman ever. But all that sadness, all everything is in there. And I used it. And it was part of my character too. She's dealing with so many things. And you can see things going on. So everything that happened to me every single time on this scene that I was gonna shoot, and every single aspect of my feeling, I added it because that was my present. Don't fight it, just use it. And I think it's smarter when you do that.
That reminds me a little bit, one of the I'm not as well versed in the acting world as you are. However, something that was very mainstream was, Heath Ledger's performance in The Dark Knight as the Joker, and how he went to, like, such a dark place to give people that experience in the film, yet he wasn't able to get out of that experience. So when you were talking about that story, how like you can use your pain to your advantage to produce something, yet what someone like myself that may just go to a movie doesn't understand is, well, now that person has to pull themselves out of it, because that's not reality, nor is it healthy for anyone to live like that.
It is not healthy to live like that. That's the method actor. And when you use, I love to go through whatever it is and do it. And I understand Heath Ledger. His performance is outstanding and is just one of the most amazing performances I have ever seen. I think to be saved from, I don't know his issues, I don't know his life, I can't speak about it. To me, the only way to go through hell and come back happy, like, oh my God, that was fun, is by having a balanced life. If your life is balanced and you're happy and you know that you're playing, even though if you go through, your dark sense and you find the worst of you or the best of you, um, you know that you're playing and you keep your mind always, because you trick your mind to get to places. But if your mind is in its place, is balanced, and you have a life that you're happy with, when you do your films, you can just channel some of that shit over there, but just get back to your real self and have fun with it. That's what I try to remind myself, and that's what I try to use. Uh, it's just, I did a short film that it was about a rape that is very intense, and we wanted to portray a woman that stands up to something like that, and she gets rid of the guy somehow. Doing that scene, um, it was very hard, and it took me a lot of thinking, a lot of doing, a lot of feeling, because of course, luckily I've never been through that. But you don't have to be through that to know the shame that you feel, you know, the amount of things that you feel as a woman, because I have been in situations where I felt like, oh wow, you know, this is weird. Or so when you play that deep down into your feelings and you look for all that, you have to come back to where you are after that. And I had a one of the most wonderful experiences of my life doing that short film. It was really rich, and I learned a lot, and I enjoy it. And after that weekend, it was like 3 4 days of shoot, and it was very intense in a garage. It was cold. It was horrible. It was very hard. Then on Monday, I remember grabbing coffee with my friends and being tired but super happy. Like I was like, oh my god, I gave everything I have, and I feel so happy. And I think that's what you want. That's what I want from it. Whatever I go, if it's hell or heaven, I just want to have fun after that. You know, feel that I gave it all. And that when you watch it, you're gonna feel whatever is gonna make you feel. And in this with this film, I had some friends opening up to me and telling me that was very empowered film. She felt empowered by watching the film. And if she would have watched the film before, maybe she would have reacted different. And I love that because that was my goal. If you watch this film, don't feel like, oh my God, it's so disgusting. No, feel, just watch the message, you know, watch what we're doing. We're trying to get there, and we're trying to tell you, do not freaking feel ashamed for this. You know, empower yourself, take it over, and turn it around. And that's what I try to do with most of my bad situations. You know, turn it over, change it, do something else, be creative. At the end, it's just be creative.
What kinda preparation do you have to go through to get your mentality ready for something as intense as that scene?
Uh, I to me, it's it takes several days to. I can't work for 5 hours on something, and I get overwhelmed, and it's like my tool doesn't work anymore. So I work a little bit, and then I stop, and then I work a little bit more, and then I stop, and then my brain starts getting used to that idea. It's like I'm feeling that the choices and the emotions. That's first what I have to look for, um, because it's a very small period of time. So you need to give it all in that period of time, and it's like a journey of emotions. Um, what's the first emotion that is going to drive you into the rest of the journey? And I remember taking a bath and just letting my body go and experiencing situations and playing with situations meanwhile I was resting. That's what I'm saying. Being also in a very peaceful place when you are like, okay, that's a good idea. Or at night, oh my God, I need to like stand up and write this because this is great and I need to keep it. Or like letting your body and your brain develop those ideas and get into it. And then, of course, it's a lot of writing about your character, who you are, where you're coming from, all those things, but they are technical. But my emotions come after I've done all that technical part. It's just how would I feel, and trick my mind into those situations and use some of the images, you know, that they're private, but they're very useful.
Well, that's amazing, and I mean, with everything that you're doing, what's next for Vanessa in terms of her acting career?
Well, we have a horror film. Danny is gonna direct it. I had a dream that I have a dream or an idea. I talked to him, and then we developed into a story, and then it developed into a script. It's very interesting. It's women driven, lead by women, which is interesting too. And I really love the story and how it's more fun. It's horror, so it's gonna be fun, and that's gonna be at the end of the year. That is film wise. That's what I'm doing right now, and then I'm working on the book and the other script that I need to finish before this year ends. So yeah, that's basically it right now.
Gotcha. And like, where are you hoping people are gonna find you in the future? Is it like on your Instagram? Is it through like your website? Where are you looking to have attract the most people moving into the future?
I want people to go to the theaters and enjoy my films and my stories. That's what I want. Like the book that I'm writing, I'm dreaming to make a movie. It's more expensive, but yeah, that's what I want. I want you to go to the movies, watch the story. No, do not watch me. Just watch the story
Mhm.
and enjoy, and feel it and have a different experience. I do love movies. I do love when I'm like, you did that? Oh, that really happened? Oh, wow, this twist is amazing. I think it's one of the most wonderful ways of entertain and make you space out and not think about anything. And I want to be part of that.
Mhm. And is there like a place where like anyone can watch these movies not in a theater?
Oh, right now we have them on YouTube. Vanessa Calderón, that's my YouTube channel. And yeah, I have my Instagram, Vanessa Calder, that I create content there. But yeah, YouTube, Vanessa Calderón, we do have all the things in there right now.
So you can watch the whole movie on YouTube?
No, the Nomad, it's on iTunes.
Okay.
The Nomad. It's on iTunes. It's on Amazon as well. It's on rented and paid. So you can find us there.
Well, cool. Well, this is fun.
Thank you.
Appreciate you being on the Unconventional Money podcast, and you're definitely doing it. So glad to have you on. It was fun, and I'm glad that we were finally able to make it happen.
Yeah, right. Sorry for before. It was a little crazy
Awesome.
during
Well,
all
thanks
the
to everyone for
premiere and
listening, and
everything.
we'll hear you. We'll be back next week. Peace and love, everyone.